everyone, it's Holmes from Home Storybooks, and I'm here today to share with you the Pride Flag book tag. It is so much fun to say. This tag was started by Spencer from Common Spence, and I'll leave his video down below. He's so much fun, so enthusiastic, so of course I had to do this tag. The premise of this tag is that you find LGBTIQA+ books that suit the colors and meanings behind each color of the Pride Flag. Let's start, shall we? Red, which means life. A book with a spirited protagonist who is totally proud of who they are. A character that gives you life. A character that gives me life is Molly Bolt from Rubyfruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown. Molly Bolt is a working class girl. She's not likable, she's fierce, and she will genuinely fight you. She's scrappy, smart, and is determined to make her own way in the world. I haven't read more than the first 50 pages of this, but the first chapter is so memorable. She gets one of the boys at her elementary school to show her his genitals, decides they look funny, and then charges people a penny to come look at him. After making a serious amount of money, she purchases red licorice for herself and all her friends. Molly Bolt gives me life. What a great name. Orange, which is healing, a book that made you, as a reader, find a deeper meaning or catharsis in your own life. For this, I've chosen Wandering Sun, Volume 1 by Takako Shimura. I read Volume 1 a couple of years ago, all in one sitting, and cried like a baby, okay? A baby. This is about two trans kids in elementary school and middle school. They become friends, borrow each other's uniforms, get opposite haircuts, and are such precious cinnamon rolls. I loved both of the characters immediately and wanted to wrap them up in my arms and protect them. Some of the panels made me burst into tears. It was cathartic, okay? It was a lot, but I loved it, and I'd never change it for anything. Shimura's way of writing made me realize that even though Japanese culture tends to fetishize homosexuality, or call it more of a hobby than an actual way of being, there can be deep, meaningful stories written by Japanese people about queer and trans people. Yellow means sunshine, a book that makes you happy and brings you joy and could brighten even your darkest day. For this, I've picked Tomboy Survival Guide by Ivan Coyote, who's trans and has written something like 11 books. I'll leave a link down below to a video where I talked about this book in more detail too. This book is part memoir, part vignette, and I loved every minute of it. This book has so many meaningful stories about first loves, growing up in the Yukon, and going to university. I loved Arsenal Pulp Press's publication of this book. There are so many gorgeous illustrations of things you would find in instruction manuals, etchings of how to tie knots, how to cast on knitting, the component parts of a generator that added an extra layer of depth to an already polished book. This memoir is so funny. Their ruminations on gender and its limitations make me laugh, make me grin. They poke fun at themselves in the most beautiful way, and after I finished this book, I felt like I made a friend. Green, which means nature, a book that is set out of this world or in a reality different to your own. For this, I had no option but to go with Jonny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead. Whitehead is First Nations, he's OG Cree from Pegua's First Nation, and he identifies as Two-Spirit. Jonny Appleseed is about a young First Nations man who is returning to the reservation after his stepfather passed away. This book is so gentle, so tender, so generous. I learnt so much about Jonny, how he grew up, how the women in his family immediately accepted him as Two-Spirit, even as a child, and then how, conversely, men in his life challenged him, tried to get him to be more masculine, insulted him, tried to wear him down. I adore this book so much, I really want to do a full review. It was so easy to read and could have easily fitted in with so many other themes of the Pride Flag too. Blue, which stands for peace, a book where one of the characters finds peace with a difficult truth. For this one, I had no choice but to go with Blue is the Warmest Color by Maroh. Clementine, a young French teenager, falls in love with an art student with blue hair called Emma. Clementine's parents aren't supportive of the relationship, and so much of this beautifully drawn comic is Clementine coming to terms with that. But also, Clementine has to come to terms with her own internalized homophobia and make space for herself. This comic, I loved the watercolors so much, oh my god. This comic will pull you apart and put you back together again. I cried, I sobbed, and I felt like I was made better after reading it. I can't recommend this one highly enough. The last color is purple and it stands for spirit. a book that deals with LGBTIQA plus themes and religion. I thought this was going to be the one that I struggled with the most, but then I remembered The Color Purple by Alice Walker. It's purple, you guys. It's perfect. The main character, Sally, starts off this book by writing letters to God, asking why are things the way they are. I'd forgotten this book had queer themes in it, so when I read it and got to that 104th page, I gasped out loud and couldn't stop reading. Sally's character arc is one of my favorites of all time, and I love Walker's writing, her voice, and the themes of this book. Female friendship, forgiveness, feminism. Walker has produced such a masterpiece, and the power this book holds never ceases to amaze me. This book deserves so much more than the Pulitzer Prize. That's it, that's all for this tag today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to Spencer at Common Spence for creating such a playful, meaningful tag. If you want to be tagged, tag, you're it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye everyone.